Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the 2024 Volunteer Recognition Celebration. We're excited to have you here today, celebrating you and all your hard work and contributions to the trail. Myself and Barbara Budd will be going through a series of slides tonight, highlights from the entire year, along with sharing with you some special folks who went above and beyond and are truly the superheroes of the trail.
Volunteers have been at the heart of the SHT for 38 years now, and the trail wouldn't exist without you. What you do keeps this beautiful treasure of a trail in great shape for users now and in the future. You are the superheroes of the SHT. Here are some of the ways you showed your superpowers in 2024. And it's only some because if I listed them all, we'd be here for days because your accomplishments are amazing. To start with, adopters, who have been at the heart of the core of the volunteer program for as long as we've had a trail. They've usually been the reason you don't get smacked in the face by brush as you hike or run, that you can find a clean fire pit, and their reports help us triage latrine redigs. The consistent and reliable impact of volunteers is awe-inspiring. We're so grateful for the more than 1,000 hours a year that are given by campsite adopters, section adopters, and our trail stewardship team. Thank you.
We had 3 trail clearing weekends this year, a southern clearing hosted at Corky Nordic Center and a mid-trail event hosted at the Claire Nelson Center in Finland and a northern event in Grand Marais. Combined, 60 volunteers cleared 93 miles of trail. And in addition to that, the Superior Hiking Trail Association volunteers also used the section sign-up model of clearing, where sawyers signed up for a section and then organized their own team of swampers, clearing the sections on their own time. All in all, volunteers cleared over 100 miles of the SHT. And there's always a lot of work being done in Duluth, thanks to our maintenance contractor, Larry Sampson, and many, many dedicated and new volunteers. And in 2024, it was no exception of a productive year. This year, we accomplished 124 feet of puncheon completed. This was near Martin Road. There was 84 feet completed there, along with some other 8 and 12-foot sections in various locations. There was also 820 feet of trail hardening using a chunky gravel mix provided by the city of Duluth near Martin Road in Hartley Park and in Mission Creek area, and approximately 2,500 feet of reroute, including approximately a fourth of a mile in Mission Creek and several short 100 and 300 foot reroutes between Green Street and Spirit Mountain, and at least 30 rocks or crib timber steps replaced in various locations, one 16-foot bridge west of Spirit Mountain on Lenroot Creek, and a retaining wall repaired and reset along King Creek. We also eliminated at least 50 of those old rebar steps on several of the projects above and hauled them out to throw them in a city dumpster, completing approximately 6 miles of corridor widening through brushing and lopping between Normanna to Reservoir Road and Fox Farm West to Fox Farm East. Lots of work. Since the beginning of time, whipping of the southern sections of the SHT was led and coordinated by Larry Sampson, and under his tutelage arose some dedicated volunteers with some special skill sets. When Larry hung up his harness in 2024, volunteer crew leaders Shelley Thompson, Josh Stengel, and Lisa Byrne determined to carry on the volunteer weed whipping tradition in his place. Thanks to the grit and determination of these individuals, the majority, around 90% of the southern sections were cleared by volunteers. And we are particularly grateful to the Duluth Foot Trail Alliance and the Northern Minnesota Track Club for their ongoing partnership and support in maintaining the SHT. The Superior Hiking Trail Association hosted 3 5-day projects on the Cascade River Loop as part of our Loops Renewal Initiative. More on that later. The Cascade River Loop is 7 miles long. Some of it, a little bit of the southern ends, are in Cascade State Park, but most of it lies within the Superior National Forest. We hired a contractor to renew the northern section of the east side of the loop and tackle projects using volunteers starting in the south on both sides of the river. In all, we accomplished about 45 stone and timber steps crossed or repaired. This includes a steep eroded hillside in the state park that had been closed for nearly 2 years. One stone step crossing completed at Trout Creek. There was 9 stepping stones there, along with another one along a smaller drainage, 5 stepping stones, and about 250 feet of trail reroute, including one major reroute of nearly 200 feet, and 1.25 mile of trail renewed with new or improved drainage features and tread work. BCLs, John Storkamp and Todd Rowe and Steph Hoff led a crew of volunteers to replace a worn out and dangerous section at the base of Moose Mountain in Lutsen. The structure crossed a very muddy drainage that had been problematic for years. In all, over 15 volunteers played in the mud for 5 days to build a 150-foot boardwalk and complete other drainage and maintenance needs in the area. The new boardwalk is beautiful and very sturdy. In the fall of 2024, SHTA hired Full Sun Services to lead a crew of volunteers to construct nearly 350 feet of boardwalk and puncheon across a beaver meadow, a structure that was completed over 3 days by SHTA staff, 3 contractors, and 3 volunteers. This summer, we also held one of the first ever Backpack In project trips led by VCL's Jerome Lemke and Katie Logan. This is a good option for projects that are too remote to hike in and out in a day and still have time to get the work done. But the challenge is having to hike in all your equipment as well as your tools. For this project, we moved the sections of trail further away from the river in places where the trail was either in danger of falling in or had already slumped, leading to potential dangerous situations. The crew brushed and grubbed in the new trail in 7 different locations, and over 100 feet of trail was moved away from the river. In addition, they removed a rotten bridge and constructed a natural crossing in its place. This was a very popular event. Registration filled up right away, and there was a long waiting list. So we look forward to these types of projects in the future.
And also due to popular demand, we increased our all-fem work party offerings. We held 2 3-day weekends instead of 1 2-day weekend, and we still had a waiting list. So the crews completed a puncheon, a rock step crossing, several rock steps, lots of tread, decommissioning and naturalizing of the old trail, including hauling out an old puncheon. And because this project was a 1/4 mile long, which is more than 6 days worth of work, the remainder of the work at Mission Creek was completed by crews led by contractor Larry Sampson, including a crew from the Conservation Corps of Minnesota and Iowa. 2 opportunities that were new last year and came back for more success this year. Denny Kneff and Nicole Hallgrimson led 3 corridor clearing and blazing weekends, heading out to areas that needed a little extra tender loving care. Volunteers reported having a great time while making a difference to the trail. And then drainage maintenance days. One final one was just a couple weeks ago, and we are helping to keep water off the trail so that it doesn't get so muddy. And this year, thanks to intern Ben Mason, we were able to start hosting Leave No Trace education events at a variety of trailheads. In all, 10 ambassadors helped educate trail users at 14 locations over the summer. We hope this program will expand next year. If you're interested in helping with this program, watch for training opportunities this winter and next spring. Volunteers increased their skills and knowledge by attending a variety of trainings this year. This spring, 8 dedicated volunteers attended our first ever volunteer crew leader training weekend. We had 39 people that received first aid and CPR certification. 23 folks attended chainsaw certification, and 20 people spent a day learning how to be Leave No Trace ambassadors for the trail. Finally, another first in 2024. SHTA collaborated with several chapters of the North Country Trail Association, the Border Route Trail Association, and the Kekakabik Trail to host a 2-day technical training weekend. Classes offered were trail building, rock work, drainage, safety, and more. Due to limited space, this year's weekend was limited to just 10 folks leadership from the Superior Hiking Trail volunteers. Next year, we hope to double our capacity and open it to many more folks. And if you come to one of our in-person volunteer appreciation parties, we will give prizes away. So plan on coming to one of our in-person ones next year. And now some special thank yous.
We are thrilled at how our volunteer crew leader program has expanded over the last 2 years. You may have noticed if you've attended a project recently, we've added some new VCLs to the mix. They help out at each volunteer project with crew management and project logistics. Crew leaders get more experience as they participate in projects and attend skill trainings. And some of our VCLs are now capable of leading some or all aspects of a project completely on their own. This is a great step in the direction, and it is increasing both the number of volunteers we can manage at any particular project and the number of actual volunteer projects that we can host in any given year, which means more critical work is being done on the trail, more opportunities for us to engage with new and returning volunteers, and more chances to learn and hone your trail skills. We would like to recognize and thank those VCLs for all the time and effort they put into developing their leadership and technical skills and for taking on the extra workload and responsibilities of project management. Those VCLs are Jerome Lemke, Katie Logan, Tom Harris, Shelley Thompson, Joe Baker, Lisa Byrne, Josh Stengel, Steph Hoff, John Storkamp, Alex Corbell, Todd Rowe, Beth Kodaboy, Nicole Helgrimson, Denny Kneff, Josh Gary, Eric Thompson, and Bruce Euland. If you are interested in becoming a VCL, please talk to Barbara or Tamer or one of our current VCLs for more information.
Another group that we really want to recognize is our cooks. When volunteers on multi-day trips return from the trail each day, they come back to snacks and a hot dinner prepared by our hardworking cooks. Those folks drive gear to set up a site. They set up an outdoor kitchen and then proceed to feed folks excellent food in all sorts of weather, bugs, and other challenges. One group of cooks even had to move an entire kitchen one morning when the wind tore down 2 of the canopies being used. And they just step up to whatever's needing to be done. A special thank you this year to Frank Jewell, Donna Fowler, Will Nordmark, Nicole Hallgrimson, Tracy Hennigar, Tracy Lamperty, Amy Carrison, Lindsay Standerwick, and Scott Dahlquist. We would be thrilled to increase this group. If you or anyone you know would like to help cook at SHTA events, please let me know by emailing volunteer@superiorhiking.org. While so much of our focus is on trail maintenance volunteers, there are folks who support the trail in lots of other ways. These folks are often unsung and unphotographed, but the trail would be much the worse without them. Thank you to our tireless board of directors who give so much of their time to the organization. We'd be lost, and so would our hikers, without their sign makers and installers. Trail store and office volunteers help keep staff members running, help keep things running smoothly. Development volunteers and ambassadors, as well as tabling volunteers, help bring new members and volunteers to the SHTA. Webinar presenters and a Facebook moderator keep users informed. Tech volunteers have helped with our website too. And we'd be a much more boring organization without the amazing photographs and designers who help us create promotional materials.
Because we have so many wonderful volunteers, we get to name more than one. These awards coincide with the North Country Trail Association Honors Awards. So these three folks will be listed as honor award winners at the next NCTA next year. The awards generally arrive in January, so too late to give them out now, but we want to celebrate you now, and we'll get those NCTA awards out to you when they arrive. This year, one of our awardees is Josh Stengel. Josh Stengel's dedication to the SHT is obvious with all the care he puts into adopting a section and being part of the Duluth area trail maintenance. Josh has led weed whipping in the past, but this year he stepped up even more in his responsibilities in this arena. In his new role as volunteer crew leader, he not only weed whipped, but assisted in the Cascade project. And weed whipping wasn't as if weed whipping wasn't enough, he even took home all the weed whip lines to cut to length for the whips. This winter, he's working on making sure next year's weed whipping schedule will be as smooth as silk. Thank you, Josh, for all you do for the SHT.
Shelley Thompson's history of caring for the SHT speaks for itself, with her adopted sections of the trail shining in her good hands. She's been a many years long Duluth area volunteer with both maintenance projects and weed whipping. But this year, Shelley's work on the trail more than doubled. She stepped up into a volunteer crew leader position and started leading those weed whipping crews. Some crew members were longtime friends, and some were brand new volunteers who raved about their experience. And who wouldn't love to be on her crew? Just look at that smile. Thank you, Shelley, for all you do for the SHT. Tom Harris is a dedicated volunteer crew leader in Sawyer, spending many, many days on trail each year. But he shows up in so many other ways. He regularly transports gear to camps. He helps set up and clean up at multi-day trips and single-day trainings where many of you will have seen him. But here's something most of you won't know without me saying it. Tom asked a couple of years ago if there was any engraving he could do for us with his laser engraver. He's the person behind the personalized loppers and shovels that adopters get, as well as a few other items with the SHT logo on them, like the wedges for Sawyers. Thank you, Tom, for all you do for the SHT.
And we have 4 amazing SHTA volunteers who are chosen for North Country Trail Awards this fall. We have Bill Dryborough, who received a Distinguished Service Award, along with John Kolstad. And Will Nordmark received the Sweep Award, and Becky Zrymsik received the Leadership Award. And we have a wonderful blog post that's available on our website where you can learn more about each one of these amazing volunteers and their story.
And it's not just us that say thank you. Users regularly use our logbooks to say thank you to volunteers. The work you do on the trail makes trail users feel like this face on the left. And they feel like that because they're inspired by the beauty they find, like the drawing in the middle, and they're inspired to create, like the drawing on the right. So thank you so much from our trail users.
Volunteer hours make the trail a reality, but when you volunteer, you're actually contributing twice. For most of the grants that the Superior Hiking Trail Association receives, we match that grant by using reported volunteer hours. Grants help us hire contractors to tackle additional projects and renew sections of the trail. So your volunteers' hours helped us make the following projects a reality. In 2024, We also had a full season of contractor-led projects. Full Sun Services cleared 100 miles of trail and we whipped all the way from Martin Road to the northern terminus, and they dug 25 latrines. Um, and more, in addition to the volunteer projects led by contractors at the Arrowhead Boardwalk, we hired contractors to complete three major projects on the SHT's beloved and heavily used loop trails. These were Split Rock River Loop, Bean and Bear Loop, and Cascade Loop, along with the Arrowhead Puncheon. In all, contractors renewed about 7 miles of trail, which includes the installation of 75 stone steps, many square feet of stone hardening, installation of about 2,000 linear feet of puncheon and elevated boardwalk, and about 120 timber or cribbed steps installed. All of these projects are continuing and scheduled to be completed in 2025, so look for more spectacular work to come.
Again, come to our in-person volunteer appreciation parties to get some great swag. And speaking of prizes, we always look for opportunities to say thank you for all you do. And now we've got this one other way to show our gratitude to you. We've added some awards this year. And here is a quick recap of our award program. At 40 hours, you get one of those fun hard hats with your name on it. At 75 hours, a t-shirt. At 150 hours, a buff. That's on the right. It says volunteer on it. 300 hours, a Frost River waxed canvas lunch bag with the SHTA logo. At 600 hours, a sweatshirt, a zip hoodie. And then at 1,500 hours, and we don't quite have any folks yet with those numbers, is a tote. And again, these hours started accumulating on October 1st, 2021. We'd love to go back and honor all of the dedicated work before that, but we didn't have a standard way of keeping track of hours, so we just started fresh. In addition, adopters who came back for a second year will receive either a lopper with a name on it or a small shovel, depending on whether you're a section or campsite adopters. And all of these things are volunteer specific. You won't find them in the trail store, so the only way to get them is to be an SHTA volunteer. Here's this year's list. Some of you have already received your awards. If your name is on this list and you have not, please contact volunteer@superiorhiking.org to arrange a time to pick up your award. And if you're not on this list, don't despair. Your hours next year will continue to accumulate, and you'll find yourself on these lists soon. So take a look there. Also take a look, here is our 40-hour hard hat list. So again, take a look if your name is there. If you haven't received your hard hat yet, contact volunteer@superiorhiking.org.
Because the SHT is an affiliate of the larger North Country Trail, volunteers are also eligible for awards through the National Park Service for hours of service on the Superior Hiking Trail. In order to receive these rewards, you need to become a VIP, volunteer in parks, which many of you already are. We will report all of your hours annually to the North Country Trail for these awards. And by the way, please report your hours to SHTA, not NCTA, or there will be some duplicating, which can cause confusion. There's more information on those awards on the back. There's more information on that. Just contact Barbara Budd, our volunteer coordinator, or stop in our office sometime to say hello and grab one of our free NCTA bandanas. But the real reason we want you to become a VIP is for your protection. If you are on the SHT main trail performing your volunteer duties as described, you are covered by the equivalent of workers' compensation by the National Park Service. I would highly recommend that everyone become part of the VIP program to protect yourself.
And now a quick preview of some 2025 opportunities.
The 2025 list looks a lot like the 2024 list. In part, that is because we had a 2-year grant through the Environment and Natural Resource Trust Fund. And that means, once again, we're focusing our efforts on the heavily used loops, Split Rock River, Bean and Bear, and Cascade River. Larry and his volunteers will be busy again in the trail construction and maintenance in Duluth will be in full swing by late April or early May. Watch for registration as early as March for those.
And we'll have 2 more All-FEM shared identity weekends.
And once again, we'll be hosting 3 volunteer clearing weekends in May and June in 2025. A southern event likely in the Corky area between Duluth and Two Harbors, and the northern one in the shorter town hall, and our most northern one in Grand Marais again. And since we have a need to clear more sections than we can get done during those 3 weekends, we will also again use the section sign-up system where individual sawyers can claim a section and be responsible for recruiting help for cleaning that on their own time.
And as mentioned earlier, corridor clearing and blazing weekends will be back. These weekends will target areas where we have serious brushing issues and where blazing needs to be refreshed.
Dinners on multi-day projects, as we said, would be great if we could have a couple more cooks to help us add to that group. Meals are very simple to make, and this is a great way to support the crews that are maintaining the trail. But during the day, you can go hiking or just relax at camp, read a good book. We're also looking for a few folks with vans or larger SUVs or pickups with toppers to help transport our food and our kitchen gear to the camp. Please let Barbara know if you're interested in either of those things.
And we'll be having even more Leave No Trace pop-up events, and we'd love to increase the number of ambassadors to make that happen. Again, let me know by emailing volunteer@superiorhiking.org if you're interested.
Do you want to support the trail when you're not actually on the trail? You can come out to the store and office. There's so many ways to help. And you can find out more about all of these opportunities at our 2025 Volunteer Opportunities webinar, which will be in March. Registration will open this winter, so watch your Boots on the Ground volunteer e-newsletter for more information. We also have some folks that we'd like to thank as well. We could not do this work without truly our excellent partners. And those partners include the North Country Trail Association and National Park, the U.S. Forest Service, the Minnesota DNR Parks and Trails, City of Duluth, Carleton County, St. Louis County, Lake and Cook County. Thank you.
And thanks to the businesses that provided coffee, drinks, prizes, and space for our parties. REI, Super One Foods, Whole Foods Co-op, Earthrider Brewery, Betty's Pies, Dunn Brothers Coffee, and Caribou Coffee. And finally, thank you Corky Nordic, Lambs Resort, and Claire Nelson Center, who all provided free camping for our volunteers in 2024. REI and the Arrowhead EMS Association provided venues for volunteer training. And finally, thank you to those who helped make our volunteer program possible. The Lloyd K. Johnson Foundation, the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, the Duluth Superior Area Community Foundation, and the Partnership for the National Trail System. And most of all, SHTA members, donors, and volunteers like you. So thanks so much for joining us this evening. We're thrilled to have you as part of our volunteer community. Please feel free to contact me with any questions, and take care. We'll see you on the trail.